Most people think stocking up for survival means dropping thousands of dollars on fancy freeze-dried meals or building a bunker straight out of a doomsday TV show. But what if I told you that's completely wrong? The real secret is this: with just $100 and the right plan, you can create a food supply that will last you 90 days. Yes, 3 full months of meals without destroying your budget. And today, I'm going to prove it. Here's what most people miss about prepping. It's not about buying the prettiest packaging or the most high-tech astronaut meals. It's about survival math, calories, nutrition, and shelf life. Think of it this way: you're not shopping like a foodie, you're shopping like someone trying to outsmart the clock when everything else stops. Every single dollar has to stretch into as many life-saving calories as possible, while still being something you can actually eat day after day, without losing your sanity. That's where the cheap staples come in: rice, beans, oats, pasta, flour. They may not look exciting on the shelf, but these are the heavy lifters of survival food. They're cheap, they last for years if stored right, and they give you the bulk calories you need to hit that crucial 2,000 calories a day mark. But here's the twist: calories alone won't save you. If all you're eating is plain rice mush, you'll break down fast. That's why you also need the flavor multipliers: oil, salt, bouillon cubes, even a few spices. They cost pennies, but they turn bland survival rations into real meals you can actually look forward to. So, the mindset is simple. Don't think in terms of meals, think in terms of calories per dollar. If something is cheap, filling, and keeps you alive, it goes in the cart. If it's expensive fluff that makes you happy for 5 minutes, leave it behind. And here's where we start building your $100 lifeline. The first cornerstone of your survival pantry is the rice and pasta combo. This is the foundation, the bedrock, the calorie kings. Rice gives you long-term staying power, cheap, filling, and ridiculously shelf-stable. A 20-pound bag of plain white rice often costs less than $10, yet inside that sack is more than 30,000 calories. Think about that: you're literally buying weeks of survival for the price of a drive-through burger. Stored right, in airtight containers or buckets with oxygen absorbers, white rice doesn't just last months, it lasts years. That kind of longevity is priceless, but let's be real, nobody wants to choke down plain rice 3 times a day, for 90 days. That's where pasta steps in as your savior. A simple box of spaghetti or macaroni costs less than $1, and just 1 pound carries around 1,600 calories. Each box stretches into multiple meals, and when you mix it with beans, oil, or even just bouillon cubes, you've got a hearty dish that lifts morale and keeps you going. The magic is in the rotation. Rice one day, pasta the next. Suddenly your food feels less like survival rations, and more like a plan you can actually stick with. It's not glamorous, it's not Instagram-worthy, but in a crisis, it's strategic, and strategy is what will keep you alive. Here's the truth about survival food. It's not just about staying alive, it's about staying strong enough to keep going. Rice and pasta will fill your stomach, but if that's all you eat, your body will slowly start breaking down. Muscles shrink, energy fades, and even your immune system weakens. That's why the second pillar of your survival pantry is all about protein: beans, lentils, and split peas. These aren't just fillers, they're the fuel that keeps your body functioning when survival turns into a marathon. Dry beans are the classics: pinto, black, kidney, take your pick. You can usually grab a 10-pound bag for under $10, and every single pound is packed with about 1,600 calories plus protein to keep you working. The only catch: beans take a long time to cook, and in a blackout, every minute of cooking means fuel you can't waste. That's where lentils and split peas change the game. Unlike beans, they're quick cooking, ready in as little as 20 minutes. That means less fuel, less time, and more meals on the table when things are tough. Plus, lentils are loaded with fiber, which keeps you full longer. When you're rationing food, that fullness is priceless. And here's the kicker: rice and beans, or rice and lentils, combine to form what nutritionists call a complete protein. That means together, they give your body every single amino acid it needs to repair muscle and recover from stress. Picture this: you're hauling water, splitting firewood, maybe even defending your home. Without proper protein, your body simply can't bounce back. With it, you stay strong enough to keep fighting another day. The best part? These protein powerhouses are dirt cheap. For just $10 to $15, you can pick up enough beans, lentils, and peas to last weeks. Use beans for hearty bulk meals, lentils for fast dinners, and split peas for rich soups and stews. When calories keep you standing, protein keeps you working, and in survival, you'll need both. But survival isn't only about what you eat, it's also about when you eat. Mornings can make or break your day. Waking up hungry and sluggish will drag you down before you even start. That's why the third essential in your $100 pantry is oats and cornmeal. Oats are the reliable comfort food of a crisis. A big tub costs only $3 or $4, yet it can feed you for weeks. They cook fast, they're filling, and all you need is a little hot water. Eat them plain, sweeten them with a pinch of sugar, or stir in powdered milk if you've got it. Oats are simple, predictable, and comforting, a kind of edible reset button when the world outside feels chaotic. Cornmeal, on the other hand, is the unsung hero. A 5-pound bag costs only a few dollars, but unlocks endless possibilities. You can bake cornbread, cook porridge, fry it into cakes, or whip up grits for breakfast. Unlike oats, cornmeal works for both savory and sweet meals, giving you flexibility when variety runs low. Pair it with beans for a filling dinner, or use it in the morning for slow-burning energy. That slow release of energy is crucial. Sugary snacks burn fast and leave you drained. Oats and cornmeal fuel you steadily, keeping you going through the grind of survival, hauling water, tending fires, or simply pushing through another powerless day. And here's the shocking part, for under $10, you can stock enough oats and cornmeal to fuel 3 months of mornings. That's breakfast security for pennies. And that brings us to the fourth survival staple, a combination that feeds not just your body, but your morale. Peanut butter and powdered drink mixes, because survival isn't only about calories, it's also about sanity. Now let's talk about something that feels less like survival food, and more like comfort food. Peanut butter and powdered drink mixes. This combo may sound simple, but in a crisis, it's pure gold. Peanut butter isn't just a snack, it's survival fuel. It's calorie-dense, protein-packed, and shelf-stable for months. A single jar gives you over 2,000 calories, and if you shop smart, you can grab store brands for under $3. Spread it on bread, stir it into oatmeal, or just eat a spoonful straight from the jar when you need a quick boost. The truth is, peanut butter feels indulgent, and in the middle of chaos, that little sense of normal is worth more than you can imagine. Now pair that with powdered drink mixes, Kool-Aid, lemonade packets, Tang, even cheap electrolyte powders. These cost only $1 or $2 for dozens of servings, but they do something priceless. First, they make plain water taste better. And trust me, if you're drinking boiled or filtered water every day by the gallon, you'll crave variety fast. Second, those electrolyte mixes help replace the minerals your body loses when you're sweating, stressed, and living on less than perfect meals. They keep your system balanced, your energy steady, and your morale intact. Together, peanut butter and drink mixes go beyond survival. They give you comfort, energy, and a much-needed break from the monotony. In survival mode, that spoonful of peanut butter or a cold glass of flavored water can feel like luxury, and luxury is what keeps you pushing forward instead of burning out. That brings us to the fifth essential in your $100 pantry, cooking oil and shortening. If calories are king in survival, then fat is the crown jewel. Nothing delivers raw energy more efficiently than fat, and yet, it's one of the most overlooked parts of prepping. Think about this, 1 single tablespoon of vegetable oil packs, around 120 calories. Now multiply that across a 1-gallon jug, and you've got more than 30,000 calories sitting on a shelf for under $10. That's one of the best calorie per dollar buys you'll ever make. But oil does more than just boost calories. It transforms survival food into something you'll actually eat. Rice and beans by themselves can feel dry and punishing. Add a splash of oil, and suddenly the texture softens, the flavor deepens, and the whole dish feels like a meal instead of a chore. Oil also lets you fry, sauté, and preserve other ingredients, essential skills when variety is scarce. Shortening takes it a step further. It lasts even longer on the shelf, and gives you the ability to bake biscuits, fry cornbread, or whip up survival pastries when you need a morale boost. The catch? Fats don't last forever. Oil will eventually go rancid, especially in heat, so rotate your stock. Use it, replace it, and always keep it fresh. In survival, fats aren't optional, they're what keep you warm, energized, and satisfied when calories alone start to feel thin. And that leads us to the sixth powerhouse ingredient, flour, baking powder and yeast. Bread is life. Always has been. And in survival mode, it becomes more than just food. It's comfort, variety, and morale in one. A 10-pound bag of flour costs around $5 and gives you close to 15,000 calories. Add water, salt, and heat, And you can turn it into flatbreads or tortillas that fill your stomach and stretch your meals. But here's where it gets exciting. Toss in some baking powder, and suddenly you're making biscuits, pancakes, or quick breads. Add yeast, and you unlock the magic of rising dough, fresh loaves of bread, pizza crusts, and hearty meals that feel like a feast in tough times. Bread isn't just food, it's a stomach filler that makes everything else stretch further. Spread peanut butter on it, pair it with beans, or drizzle on some syrup, and you've got meals that feel satisfying without draining your other supplies. It's cheap, it's versatile, and it might just be the ingredient that keeps your spirits alive when the days get long. Here's where survival gets real. Sometimes you don't have the time or the fuel to wait an hour for beans to soften or rice to finish cooking. That's when you reach for the instant boosters. These are the foods that save you when you're too tired, too cold, or too low on fuel to fuss over long cook times. And at the top of that list is ramen. Love it or hate it, ramen is the king of cheap calories. You can still grab a pack for under 30 cents, and each brick of noodles packs nearly 400 calories. Stockpile a dozen or two, and you've got instant meals that come together in minutes. Toss in some beans, a handful of canned veggies, or even a spoonful of peanut butter for extra protein, and suddenly ramen transforms from junk food into actual survival fuel. Then there are bouillon cubes, tiny but powerful. For just a couple of bucks, you can buy a jar that flavors dozens of meals. Drop one into boiling water, and suddenly your beans, rice or lentils taste like a rich soup instead of bland mush. That's not just flavor, it's morale in a cube. And don't sleep on instant potatoes. They're cheap, lightweight, and ridiculously easy to prepare. Just add hot water, stir, and you've got a filling dish in seconds. When you're worn down, out of fuel, or just need something fast, instant potatoes are like a warm hug in a bowl. These instant boosters aren't just about calories, they're about convenience. In survival, there will be days when exhaustion hits harder than hunger. Having foods that cook in minutes can be the difference between pushing through or giving up. But survival isn't only about staying full, it's about staying healthy. And that brings us to the eighth essential, powdered milk and canned veggies. Powdered milk doesn't sound exciting, but it's one of the cheapest ways to add protein, calcium, and critical nutrients without refrigeration. A single box can last months, and all it takes is water to bring it back to life. Stir it into oats, mix it into bread dough, or drink it plain. It's the unsung hero that keeps bones strong and fills in the gaps rice and beans leave behind. Then there are canned vegetables. They're more than just variety, they're vital. Rice and pasta will keep you alive, sure, but without vitamins and minerals, your body starts to break down. For just a few dollars, you can stack cans of corn, peas, carrots, or mixed veggies, and they'll sit safely on your shelf for years. Open a can, heat it up, and suddenly your survival meal has color, flavor, and nutrition. Together, powdered milk and canned veggies make your food plan balanced. They're cheap, shelf-stable, and they keep you not just alive, but healthy enough to endure the grind of crisis. And that leads us to the ninth survival staple: honey, sugar, and syrup, sweeteners. Now in normal life, sugar gets a bad rap, but in survival, sugar is rocket fuel. A single spoonful of sugar, honey, or syrup delivers a quick burst of energy that can get you through the hardest moments. And here's the thing, morale-wise, sweeteners are priceless. When you've been living on rice and beans for weeks, the taste of something sweet feels like a miracle. A 5-pound bag of sugar costs just a few dollars, but it contains tens of thousands of calories. Honey might be pricier, but it lasts literally decades without spoiling. It's liquid gold. And then there's pancake syrup, cheap and often overlooked, but still a fantastic way to add easy-burning energy to your body. The beauty of sweeteners is that they're also food multipliers. Stir sugar into oats, drizzle syrup over cornbread, or mix honey into tea, and suddenly survival meals taste like comfort again. These little touches of sweetness do more than fuel your body, they lift your spirit, and in long-term survival, that spirit is everything. Picture this, you've got your shelves stacked with rice, beans, oats, and more.